We'll see what Electronic Boys get done with it. For now, the cut do go on to their next pickup. Got plenty of reserve time for this one. But it does appear they might be lacking another support, as I think the Prophet might be a core Prophet in the offlane, but only time will tell. I'd say though, if you did want to run that split pushing kind of Prophet, you would prefer to play it in a core role and just get the farm up ASAP. But like I say, it can work out anyway. You could run it as a support as well. It will just take a bit more time to get to that Aghanim Shard and just be kind of ridiculous once you do have it up. We'll see what the cunt does decide to go for. Now, John, might I add while we're waiting, I've got to admit, before we came into North America, before we came into the NA DPC, I wasn't expecting much, but we had our previous series the other day. I believe it was Tuesday for us. We were watching a lower division match. I remember Two-Base was there. Who else was it? I always have trouble remembering their name. It was the Byzantine Raiders, I believe it was.
Yes.
I've got to say, I was very impressed by the quality of Dota that was coming out from this region already. And yesterday I did production for BTS. Watching those games as well, we saw EG versus 4 Zoomers. And after that, of course, Arkosh was up against Team Dogchamp. And again, very impressed. I don't know how this region was struggling, to be honest with you, John. The quality of Dota is actually quite high.
Definitely is. I think it's really great to see them popping off now with the DPC back in. And, you know, we've got a lot to expect. I think, you know, a lot of people might be looking down on the cut and Electronic Boys coming through the opens, coming into the close. Not the right move. I think you've always got to watch out for these teams. They can bring a lot to the table. Absolutely. We do see the cut picking up the Ember Spirit first. So kind of revealing perhaps their mid here early on. They could maybe shake up the lanes, fluxing the Ember around, but it's a bit awkward when you've got the NP and clock on hand as well. So I don't reckon that's something the cut goes for. We'll see what the Electronic Boys does now. It looks like they're lacking their own mid, as they might still be leaning into that offlane OD. There's already some pretty decent control here for the Ember. Grimstroke silence is nice enough. You've also got this Nyx that absolutely makes it hard for the Ember. So you walk up, Spike Carapace on, and you might end up getting chain stunned here if you're not careful.
That was kind of why I was a bit shocked to see the Ember popping out into the Nyx Assassin, but I suppose so many kind of mids really struggle up against that Nyx Assassin anyway. You can't really think too much about what the Nyx is going to do, but I would agree with the point you're making, though. It is going to be a little bit harder for that Ember, especially just with the Flame Guard. You just pop Flame Guard, he pops Spike Carapace and Vendetta, and you're kind of just dead, assuming he has a +1 nearby. Still, the bans are over now. The cut, they are yet to make their last pickup. Is it going to be another support? Are they going to pick another offlaner instead of the MP? Only time's going to tell. But they do have that flexibility right now on the cut to really mix it up with this Nature's Prophet if they so wish. Though I do still stick by my words. I would prefer to see the offlane Prophet, if anything.
Yeah, you've got a fairly decent lane. I think Monkey King can kind of abuse it a bit, but early on, the range advantage the NP has should be enough. You've got the Treants to play with as well. I just worry about, again, it's back to that Grimstroke early on. If you are going for the Treant spam to take control of the lane, early Stroke of Fate is going to make that a lot harder. But there are ways to kind of work around that. The cut is going to take their time here. Both sides really not having too much reserve, so there's not going to be too much time to think about these closers.
10 seconds left of reserve time now for the cut. I suppose they could go for a bit more of utility offlane, though no. They are going to go for the Witch Doctor, so it is going to be the position 3 Prophet. I doubt we see a position 3 Clockwork, because I mean, I say it all the time, but I just don't see a point of POS 3 Clockwork, because when you can play it in the POS 4 and it does the exact same thing. Electronic Boys, though, their last pickup. Are they going to run the offlane OD here? Are they going to run the mid Monkey? Are they going to run the safe lane Monkey? A very flexible draft in its own right now from Electronic Boys. I would say they're probably still looking for a mid matchup if they didn't want to run the Monkey mid. But then again, up against the Ember, you might just run the Monkey mid and kind of just dominate the lane, and they actually pick up a Bristleback now. So where are they laning all these heroes?
It's an interesting way of closing out. I think the Bristle is one of those heroes that I was having talks with a friend of mine. He says he actually really likes the position of the Bristleback now, especially with the shards. If you actually get that item at, say, the 20-minute mark, The shard gives you a lot of utility in starting these fights. Looking like Mio playing it, so it looks like it will head down mid here for Electronics Boys, and Speed is taking that monkey safe. It's going to be an interesting time seeing that Bristle. Of course, you don't have a Viper to worry about. You've got a lot of value standing in front, tanking the hits from the Witch Doctor, the spells coming out. You can really get a lot of Bristleback action going. You've got great area denial with your Monkey King, and you've got the OD and the Nyx to kind of handle the Raid King, handle all of these low int, low mana pool heroes. So there's a lot that the Cut's going to have to work out here to get their own strat going. However, the Cut, they still have this amazing push potential with the NP Raid King. They've got Sustain out with the Witch Doctor, and they do have some global presence coming out with your Clockwork, NP, and Ember. So there's a lot of opportunities for them to jump around the map. They just have to be careful about the counterplay here from Electronic Boys.
No, I would agree with that, but I'm going to ask you the hard question, John. You've seen both the drafts. Which draft inspires more confidence in you for this game number 1?
I'm going to have to lean in with the Electronic Boys. Not even counting the fact that Speed's on there, but they've got this OD off that's been highly effective with a build-up into the Meteor Hammer. They've got a lot of answers for the Raid King, a lot of answers for all the creeps coming out with the Skellies and the Treant Summons. It's going to be a hard game for the Cut to make it work, but if the Cut hits that momentum, it can still, you can start taking control of the map fast. It's just that it's a lot easier to pull off what Electronic Boys wants to do here.
That it is. We'll go into game number 1. We do have a quick pause coming out. Hopefully it won't take too long though, John. As you and I are aware, there was some coordinator issues happening just a couple minutes ago before the draft did begin, but it looks like it is indeed a door issue. Somebody has to go attend to the door. It looks like Lil Nick is actually AFK as well, which doesn't really help the cause, but it won't matter. We'll be underway very, very soon. So you're leaning towards the side of Electronic Boys, I believe you said. Very interesting. We'll see what they can get done. I actually personally don't know what to... Lobster dinner, Pingu.
Yeah, they were chatting about lobster dinners in the lobby. I'd love some lobster.
Lobster dinner is better than steak dinner. Rat lobster brought to you by... Jeez. I'll tell you what, John. The memes are very different between our regions. I'll tell you. It's
Oh, yeah.
Never had myself a rat lobster before.
Yeah. No, I don't think I've ever heard of it. We'll see how the game goes, though, as it looks like they have grabbed whatever dinner was at the door or whatever popped up. And we'll just see how the lanes go. I think the one thing to watch out for is the Bristleback mid, played by Mio, right? He's laning against our Ember Spirit. Lil Nick, as the Ember, should have some ways of playing with that. Of course, he can't block out too much damage here with a Flame Guard because, well, quilts are physical. So Mio is going to have a decent enough time applying some constant harassment out. And Lil Nick's going to have to be a bit careful in that matchup. Not something you see too often, but again, based on talks I've had with players in Southeast Asia, they do tend to like how Bristleback is. The shard timing is just really nice, right? It gives you such a good way of starting these fights for your team. 700 radius, Goo, and Quill is actually pretty good to start these fights. So we'll see if Mio will opt for that build-up down the line. But overall, even just holding this lane is going to be rather different than Bristleback mid. Just not something we see too often at all.
Yeah, props to the Prophet player as well, Tingle. He's using these trees to check out if there's any wards in that mid lane early on, trying to make sure they scout these out and get them dewarded. Of course, he did not scout it out by putting the tree behind the tree, so he should know that it's on the cliff now. Whether they get the deward out early on is a different question entirely, as it's going to be kind of hard to get to that point of the map to actually deward. But for now, we'll see what does pan out in these early few minutes. As you do see Vol, he's up at that top lane. He spotted out the Monkey King, who is currently a donkey. They do also have the Witch Doctor being played by Pingu up there. So you do have a bit of a tri-lane to get things started, and it seems like they really want to try and dish out some harassment very early on onto our Broken Boy Speed. And poor Speed, he's been maledicted up straight off the bat. He might actually die here. He's going to try and fight back, but it looks like he is going to die underneath Fountain, or maybe not. The Fairy Fire, is it enough? It barely is. Speed surviving on about 20 HP there. He will be forced to salve up early on, but I don't mind that play that was made by Pingu on the Witch Doctor. And of course, he's going to TP right back down to the bot lane. You do have Vol, who is also perfectly fine right at the tree line. Just forcing out that early salve usage here from our Monkey King.
Yeah, it puts Speed in a bit of an awkward spot. He is ready for a hard lane. He did bring himself 5 tangos to start off with anyway, so it looks like he expects a lot of trades coming out. Again, it's down to laning against an NP. Tingle King has a lot of ways of applying harassment onto Speed early on. He's got this range advantage, he's got the Blightstone, so the treants are going to hit a lot harder as well if they do decide to play harassment like that. And Speed's just got to watch himself. Does look like we're also getting the disruptive pools from Vol, so expect our Clockwork to get some EXP up as well, with not too much contestation coming out here from Albino Zebra.
Well, I think this is a very important... Oh, Vol, don't miss it now. He's got it back. Vol, it's very important for him to make this pull happen, right? As the Clockwork, you can't do too much up against the Monkey King, and he pulls it perfectly as well. He leaves one creep to go by. And he does take the pull for himself now, which will give him a quick level 2. And I think for the Clockwork, without having your cogs up, you aren't going to be able to contest the lane up against the Monkey. You're basically probably just going to die if you do approach Speed right now. So I do agree with that pull being made there by Vol.
Yeah,
so we'll have a look into the mid lane as well, John. We're talking about one lane, but the mid lane, Lil Nick is going to be there on the Ember up against Mio. Now, you pointed out that the Bristle being played by Mio should have a bit of an advantage going into this matchup. And it looks like so far, Lil Nick has done a very, very good job of keeping up in terms of CS and not being harassed out by the cool spray of Mio. But I suppose as the levels go up for Mio, it is going to get much, much harder to be able to sustain himself.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit tricky. Nick's already ready with a lot of regen on hand. He has a stick and his early bottle up. So you should be able to maintain that lane a little bit better. But Mio's just going to be able to apply this constant harassment. So it boils down to almost just sort of like a farming lane. Nick could maybe wait for his level 6 and ask for a support rotation in once the remnants are up. But so far, Mio's not going to be bullied out of all. Of course, with these early bottle pickups, you're going to want to look at the power rune once it's up. Little Nick will want to get value from the bottle. Let's see if the supports get some time to get that done. Is the last lane we haven't talked about yet, where you do see those last few supports. You've got Scourge McDuck on the Wraith King, along with Pingu and that Witch Doctor. They are laning up against the Nyx, played by Double A, and Giant on the off-lane OD. So you've got this beautiful OD combination with the Astral Imprisonment down the line. So far not leveled yet here, but you've got the Imprisonment into the Impale, really potent in terms of finding kills down the line. And so far for Giant's end, he's not slowing down our Wraith King too much. At the same time, he's not being contested too much as well in the OD. So I'd say fairly good lane for Scourge McDuck. But if the OD does get this good timing to the Meteor Hammer, with the chain stuns coming out, it's not going to be a good time if that comes out in a very good, at a timely manner for our OD.
Absolutely. Very intrigued. We have no kills so far, but I believe probably after the 4-minute mark, once you do see those first power runes spawning up, is about the time where we might see a quick rotation out, or we might even see a rotation from the supports into the mid lane to try and set up, depending on who does get that first power rune. And I think it is going to be extremely important for Lil Nick to make sure he doesn't allow Mio to take it on the Bristle. If he gets lucky and maybe gets a haste or a double damage on this Bristleback, you are going to be in pretty big trouble if you are Lil Nick. So it is going to be very, very important for him to just try and make sure that he does not allow Mio to take it away. And as well as just the power rune itself, obviously having the full bottle on the Bristle is going to be quite problematic. The one problem the Bristle tends to have is just mana. And with a full bottle, it can just mean he can keep up the harass. The Lil Nick, of course, with the stick charges is probably going to be okay up until he gets that level 6 mark, and then he'll just be fine altogether. We do have the reconnect there from Pingu on the Witch Doctor, and we should be ready to go. It's like Mio's given the go-ahead, and we will get started again. But so far, like I said, John, no kills happening thus far. Everyone just kind of sitting back, just getting some farm up. Does look pretty even as well. I mean, the cut, they have a very, very slight net worth lead, but that's about it. Nothing too special.
Yeah, it's really down to these power runes, as you mentioned. Just about 20 seconds off, so you've got Vol lining up for his stack into the power rune, just building up in that triangle, so you tend to see the pause 4-do on the Radiant side. And if they get lucky, this could be a good turnaround for Nick. That's going to give them a good kill opportunity if something good comes out for Vol here, up top.
Vol's trying. Oh, he gets unlucky, but it won't matter. Lil Nick has got the... well, there you go. He says it. Balance in all things, indeed. This is one big complaint that's been made from a lot of high-level players, is the fact that these power runes are still so random. One lucky power rune can just win you the lane outright. For Lil Nick, I don't necessarily think he's won the lane due to the fact that he's got that arcane rune, but he is a lot safer than he would have been if Mio got it.
Oh yeah, if Mio had an arcane, the spam you have with a cold spray is just
Giant.
sort of ridiculous.
Giant's dead.
Ooh.
He stuck around there and he took a bit more harass from the creep wave, and Pingu, yeah, he gives him the tip for that. I think Giant may have been dead regardless of that creep wave hitting him, but I think Pingu just kind of wants to rub salt into the wound, and that's a nice kill to pick up there for the Witch Doctor. Of course, that bonus gold he gets should allow Pingu to get those early brown boots for himself, which makes the lane infinitely better for this Witch Doctor.
Oh,
although
Scourge?
Scourge McDuck throws the stun out onto Double A. Stun is going to come out though from Pingu. Everything is going to be fine. In fact, Pingu even giving the salve away to Scourge McDuck. Great pos 5 play here from Pingu.
Yeah, it's what you like to see. First blood secured. You keep Scourge in lane, getting that farm up. We are seeing our Wraith King still maintain that lead over the OD. So you're not getting as much as you'd want here for Electronic Voice in terms of harassment and Double A.
Oh, he's going to get stunned up. He's in big trouble, and he gets crit straight off the bat as well. He should just die to this Melodict. We'll just follow him down, but I'm very sure he is dead, and he will go down. Another great pick up there from the side of the cut. They're going to be very happy with these kills going to the way of Pingu. A lot of people underestimate how valuable this gold can be for a position 5 Witch Doctor, but it can be very influential throughout the game if this does keep up. However, mid lane right now, Mio going to be chased down. Lil Nick, he gets a double damage rune for himself, but these quill sprays are starting to do a lot of damage. Mio still spamming them out. He has to be careful, Lil Nick. He's going to be turned on now, but he does have remnants. Should be alright, unless Doubler, he might get a stun out, and if he did, it could have meant a kill. Looks like Lil Nick is going to just remnant preemptively and be just fine, and he does force Mio to run all the way back to the fountain. And I've got to give props to this Ember John. Lil Nick, he has done a very good job in winning out this lane, I would say.
Yeah, it's down to the fact that they've also had Vol just playing around the area. It's just camping those runes all the time. They've always got the numbers advantage coming in. Mio missing out on 2 power runes is never good as a bristleback. You have mana issues, as you mentioned earlier on, and not being able to maximize this bottle does hurt Mio. So you have that slight lead coming out now for Nick. And despite that solo lane for Tingle King, he's still having a good time up top as well. You're not having as much farm as, say, the opposite offlaner and the OD, but Speed's not exactly having an amazing time in terms of last hits as well. You're still maintaining presence, and you're still finding farm in the jungle, so they're still getting a lot on the map despite leaving that Monkey King alone.
You do have to give props to Tingle, right? Like, 11 denies right now on that Prophet, and you can see how much Speed is kind of suffering right now on that Monkey King. He's sitting at 29 and 19, make it 30 and 19, but he's about 11 last hits behind the Wraith King right now. And although Speed is prioritized on getting a lot of denies off himself, as the position 1 carry, obviously he does want to get as much CS as possible. He'll have a bit of catching up to do, which can be somewhat difficult into a Wraith King because he can just flash farm so darn quickly. Mio in danger. He's been Maledicted up, and this is big trouble for Mio. He is going to die. Impale from Doubler did end up missing. Albinos now coming in on the Grimstroke, but he's also going to be in danger as the Remnant does go forward from Lil Nick, and that is going to mean a Grimstroke death as well. And the cart really playing out this mid lane very nicely. And with this Prophet around now, these Treants, they are on cooldown, but they might be able to get a bit of tier 1 tower damage going for themselves just before the 10-minute siege creep does spawn up.
Yeah, it's that timing we tend to see from teams, just emphasizing the early push. And Mio again? He's
going to be jumped again. The Melodic just so strong right now with the cast to fly out and the Slide of Fist. He's taken so much damage. He will survive, and they will get Vol as a kill. But Lil Nick, he's not done yet. He goes in for another chains. I don't believe it's going to be enough, and it won't be. So Mio, he does survive, but he loses so much HP. And the Carp, they're really sending a message right now, John. They're letting Mio know this is not going to be an easy Bristleback game, regardless of the drafts.
Yeah, they're they're just doing what's right for their lineup here as well for the cut. They're playing with their strength and early push. They've got amazing early gank potential coming out. Lil Nick has this really good level advantage, so they're playing to their strengths. And Mio just can't show the lane like this alone.
Yeah, he stuck around a bit too long there. Vol, he gets the cogs off, and now with the Melodic, they might kill the clockwork, but it's just not worth it. I'm very, very surprised he stuck around for that last creep. I thought he might just back off immediately, but perhaps he thought they might be able to chain him down anyway. And with that now, Lil Nick, he does have the urn up, going straight into a Spirit Vessel. Of course, as we know, John, once you've got the Vessel up, this Bristleback is nowhere near as tanky as he used to be.
He drops down a lot in durability, and you're going to have to watch that now for Electronic Boys. They're sort of dropping their early game spikes here. At least the cuts finding their timings a lot faster. You've got level 6 on Tingle King as well. And Scourge makes his way up top. So the push we were talking about earlier on is going to be in play. And I don't see any way for Electronic Boys to kind of counteract this. Albino Zebra's just focusing on stacking right now.
Interestingly enough as well, John, Scourge, he came up prior to the 10-minute mark. So he doesn't have the Siege creep, but that's the real strength of this Prophet and the Wraith King combination, is you can just push without a Siege creep so easily. And now with the Siege creep in the mid lane, they're going to use that 10-minute timing to take out basically 2 towers at once. This is very, very smart play here from the cut. And I think they're going to get it as well. I don't believe it can be stopped. They're going to try with the Grimstroke Stroke of Fate. The Treants are still there and the Siege creep is still hitting, but it looks like it is going to be enough for them to be forced back. The idea behind the play was quite smart. They don't really want to take the risk, though, it seems, so they're just going to leave it be, go back down to that bot lane with the smoke up. Little do they know, however, that this Nyx Assassin is right behind them, but they've already made the jump straight onto Speed. Doubler, can he help out? He's looking for an Impale, but he only gets one, and that means Speed is going to die. Meanwhile, the Sanitives was on the right side. Giant, he did end up taking down Vol by himself, but now Lil Nick's going to be there to chase him down. He does get the Astral. No Impale follow-up. Lil Nick, he's going to make a run for it. And looks like he is going to be just fine. In fact, a great block out with those illusions. That's 4 heroes down to the bot side of the map from Electronic Boys. And unfortunately for them, they still haven't gotten that tier 1 tower.
That is going to be in position.
Oh, great hook shot out. Vol just really on point there. A nice double impale, but is it going to matter? Lil Nick, even Tingle King coming in on the Prophet, gets the Courier, gets the OD as well. And now they can try for that tier 1 bottom tower if they wish.
Yeah, I mean, they're all in position. They're at the right spot. While all of this is happening, you've also got all the space in the world for Scourge up top. He's all alone farming up. He did some good chip damage on the tier 2 top as well. So Electronic Boys just not able to match the pace coming out from the cut. They are hitting some really early spikes here, and all Electronic Boys can do right now is just try to farm up. Speed still needs to work onto his first item. He is saving up for the Maelstrom. Not going to be up in a timely manner. You can see the cut just constantly keeping eyes down bot. They know where the stacks are. They've got some wards up. They've got some sentries up as well, just to ensure they keep control here. And if they give up these stacks, if they start giving out these last 2 tier 1s, they're going to have a hard time keeping control up here.
Speed's in big, big trouble right now. Johnny's trying to make the leap up into the tree line, but he does get hit by Scourge McDuck. Tingle King right behind him. Pingu going to show up with the Melodict and the Death Ward now, and Speed, he can't survive that damage. Pingu is unstoppable. 6-0-2 on the Witch Doctor. You don't see that very often, John.
No, but I love it. I love seeing Witch Doctors that get to pop off like this. Pingu's had a fantastic time from that first blood attempt up top to keeping his bot lane intact. We've just been able to play with the early bursts that the Witch Doctor does provide you. He's even just able to go up, get some view wards by himself with no real punishment. You see a 4K lead up now for the cut. They're still just having Scourge constantly shove in the top lane, so you've always got to get a response out. And this just means that the map isn't controlled as efficiently as Electronic Boys would want. Like, look down mid, it's already gone.
Oh, it's just great rotations out from the cut, I've got to say. It's very impressive. The pressure that they've applied here against this dire side. And Pingu, I mean, you just pointed out the fact that he's just warding all over the map, but he puts another one down to the triangle now. That's a bit of a hard one to get a D ward off on as well. And with that, Vol and Pingu Just going to keep sticking around in this triangle, making sure it's not occupied. Meanwhile, up at the top lane, Lil Nick, with the Arcane Rune, picks up his second kill of the game. He's got the full vessel up already. And he's just sticking around up there. He wants to keep this pressure on the top lane. And so far, Electronic Boys, they don't seem to know what to do about it. They're kind of just stuck huddling up in that mid lane together. But this is not very optimal. They are not getting any kind of farm efficiency going on their end of things. It is just very rough. In fact, bot lane now, Vol's going for a solo pick off onto this OD. Tingle, he was a bit late to the party, and now Double is going to come in on the Nyx Assassin, looking for an Impale. He does set up with the Spike Carapace, and they will be able to punish. Speed will come in on the Monkey, and he will take the kill. And Tingle King will just get the hell out of there immediately on the Nature's Prophet. And with this, hopefully, Eboys, they'll be able to start setting up for that bottom tier 1 tower, which is still standing.
Yeah, they've got the numbers down here. The issue is their lineup doesn't necessarily push all too fast. Like, Mew's not even around to frontline for them right now, as he is just clearing out the triangle stack. So it's going to be a difficult push in. They could try to play, but they do take it. It's been long enough. Yeah, it's been long enough.
Screw these heroes. We'll get it done ourselves. We know what to do. The Tingle King going to be up in that top lane, though. Look at this, John. The split push constantly out from the cut. No siege creep necessary. Scourge McDuck now. Full Radiance up on the Wraith King. And they know the OD's in the tree line. He is all by himself. He's underneath the Rocket Flare as well, so Tingle, what a sprout coming in. That was completely blind. He almost couldn't believe he got that off himself. And Giant, he's gone. No chance in hell of survival. The bones will be harvested by Scourge McDuck. And they're looking to go high ground. We're 16 minutes in. Calm down. The cart, they don't care. They're going.
They've got to go. Like, if you give some breathing room out for Electronic Boys, you've still got an OD to worry about. You've still got a lot of decent ways of fighting. We haven't seen a Wukongs come out yet. There's a lot of wave clear that can build up for Electronic Boys as well. So just taking control early is the right move here for the cut, and they play it smart as well. They pull back after a bit. They just go back, get some more farm up, widen the lead. 5k steady for the cut now, 10-4. And side of Electronic Boys, they are just focusing on getting that safe farm. I feel like they might have to play around their Nyx a little bit more. Play with your Nyx and Meteor Hammer on the OD. Just look for pickoffs. Perhaps they just wait for this Force Staff to be done on Giant first, though.
It's looking very, very tough. They've already lost this momentum in the game. They're stuck to one half of the map, and when I say half, I mean more like a third. They're 5k net worth behind as well, which really doesn't help them. With this kind of draft that relies on tempo, it does get very hard to make a comeback when you do fall behind like this. Like mid lane now, Lil Nick, he's feeling himself. He's going to go into that mid lane looking for a target. He's going to spot out the Grimstrike, but instead they do chain up the Bristle with the hook in. They do get the double silence off. It may not be enough though. The Death Ward is going to be there by Pingu, and Mio is going to drop very easily into Albino's bra. Can he survive this? Not really. Lil Nick, he's just all over the place with the chains out. Speed, Wukong's command. Maybe he turns this one around. They do get the Ember, and they will save the Grimstroke. They might even find Vol here, double A. He's on the chase. He just needs one hit. But no, they spot him out with the Sentry Ward. The Sprout is going to be there. The Melodict as well. But they will Astral him up. And he survived. Another great Spike Carapace. It looks like he's going to be alright. That was a very nice rotation out from Speed. Of course, it is going to be very worthwhile for the side of Eboys.
Yeah, it's they'll take what they can get. You're still not happy about dropping your Bristleback earlier on, but at least you find a kill. This is still a lot of space out for the cut. You can see them work their way up top, keeping the pressure on that lane, keeping it shoved in. I don't think the cut are scared at all. They've got this really early Radiance, as you mentioned, from Scourge. Every time you get the Radiance up sub 20 minutes, it's always good. And this is a Radiance with a casual Sange on as well. So a lot of durability on Scourge right now. Not much to be scared of. Electronic Boys, they're just playing responsibly right now. They're still trying to get some farm up on Speed. He's saving up for his BKB. He does have a Maelstrom, but it's not going to keep him safe if he does get dived on down the line.
No, it is not. Speaking of diving, John, look at Lil Nick. He's chasing him. Speed, not going to get spotted in that tree line. He's going to be all right. Very, very close call there. He could actually still get spotted. Vol, he's invis. He's having a look. And he's going to run straight into him. No, he still doesn't see him, but now he does. He found him out. Speed, he wanted to go into the tree line, but he can't get there in time. The battery assault connects. He's trying to fight this one out, but the Orchid comes in just before the Boundless strike. That is a very, very nice rotation out from Vol. Doubler will try to chase him down now, but he gets spotted in the sentry, and Vol, he just keeps walking away. He doesn't care. While the rest of the team, they go straight into the Roshan pit.
It's going to be big once you have this Aegis up on Scourge. 3 lives coming out for your Wraith King. They already can't handle 1 life. So it's going to be a massive issue here for the Electronic Boys. No wards as well to spot this out. So it's just a completely blind Roche for Electronic Boys. Not going to be aware. A big advantage for the cut as they widen their lead. 12-5, 7k up, and there's that Aegis. So Scourge going to have 3 lives, and they just immediately smoke up.
Yeah, this is a very, very difficult predicament now. How do you kill Scourge McDuck 3 times? They haven't got him once yet, John. I don't believe they've gotten 1 reincarnate life through this game. They've got to do it 3 times now. Well, they're going to spot out double, a hook shot in with the Orchid out from Tingle King, and it's just too easy. It is just too easy for the cut. And that top lane is still being forced out. They literally haven't had a 5v5 team fight yet.
No. Man.
Speed. Oh. Gonna jump in, but an immediate stun into the Melodic. Speed, he's trying to get the Wukong's out, but the Death Ward will take him down with the Melodic. The tips are out from Lil Nick. They go for more now. Mio, he's in big, big trouble. The Inkswell is not gonna help him out. Lil Nick looking for a change, but it's on cooldown right now. The chase continues, however, Lil Nick, he's not done quite yet. Mio trying to run. Scourge McDuck with the stun. Lil Nick still going forward. The chains, not gonna be quite enough. Everyone survives, however, apart from their Witch Doctor. Ball giving Scourge McDuck the whip. Onto the range barracks they go. Chains out from Lil Nick again with the silence there. Onto the OD. They're going to try and fight this one out, but Mio, he is not surviving. Tingle King, he does kill off Giant. And Scourge McDuck is somehow still alive throughout all this. Just healing up with all that lifesteal. They won't stick around for the final lane of barracks. Instead, hookshot, perfect. Vol just stunning 2 straight off the bat. They do get the reincarnate life. Lil Nick getting low as well. Vol goes in though. There's Mio going down very easily, but he'll buy back immediately. Onto Giant, who needs to just walk away as he can't die back. Speed, meanwhile, also goes down on the Monkey. That'll be Yelena Barracks gone now. And they might just keep going. They still have the Aegis. But it looks like Scourge McDuck, he wants to wait for that reincarnate to be back off cooldown. And they know, as long as they come back within the next 6-7 minutes, there is still going to be no buybacks on the OD nor the Bristle.
I mean, by the time they're back as well, reincarnation might just refresh, so you would still have 3 lives on hand for Scourge. They will just go for the outer tower push now. Tier 2 mid, not long for this world. They are sort of clumping up for a defense, but without Wukongs, or at least without their Monkey Kings for a few more seconds, not going to be easy to hold anything outside base.
There goes your mid tier 2 tower. Down to the bot lane where they might just start taking care of those other tier 1 and 2 towers. Of course, they can also control the triangle, which is the most valuable part of the map for the side of Electronic Boys, and they desperately need the farm. They're 17k net worth behind. Giant, he'll go for an Astron to Scourge. He still doesn't have Reincarnate back up, so they're going for the Aegis right now, but no, they won't fully commit. They just don't have the confidence, especially when you have no vision in your own triangle. You never know where the other guys are. And with Tingle King, John, he's got the shard up now, so you've got the Giant Treants. So your push gets even more deadly if you are the side of the cut. That's your last outer tower going down now. Very, very bad news for Electronic Boys.
Yeah, they've got no control on the map. They do have good high ground, they just need to get the team fight executed well. Although,
Speed. Oh, Speed. He's been caught out up that top lane. He'll go down. Another great play out from Lil Nick and Tingle King. Mio going to rush forward with the Ink Swirl, but Scourge going to turn right back around with his own stun. Now the cask and the Maledict is out. Scourge, he has the Reincarnate. This is not the team fight they want. Hook shot, not going to land though. Nice Astral there from Giant, but Scourge, he's not done. He'll go after the OD instead. Back on Mio. The Battery Assault, the OD ulti does drop. They get 1 life. Vol, he's in trouble. Whips himself now, trying to run away, but he's going to die. Scourge can't help him out. He'll need to try and make a run for it now. He might lose the Aegis, or maybe they just turn this one back around. The Inkswell's there. They're still trying to fight this one out. The Death Ward back out from Pingu. Mio trying to just run now. It's way too dangerous to stick around. Into the tier 3 tower they go. And I just don't see how you defend this. Scourge, he has the Reincarnate back up in 5 seconds, and he still has the Aegis. Into the mid-tier 3 tower. Tingle King will literally TP there, even though he was like a meter away.
It's difficult. I mean, the Aegis does expire, but you need your OD around you. You need Santis up, and even if you respawn, you don't have that spell.
Oh, Speed, he'll throw out the Wukongs. This is the only way to defend this tower, or at least for now, and they'll go straight after Pingu. That'll be a dieback on your Witch Doctor. Not a bad start. It's not a dieback, excuse me. It was just a death. Scourge McDuck going back in. Hawk shot perfect from Vol. Straight into the back lines onto Albinos, and he's going to go down. And they've got the final lane of Rax now. There's no stopping them. That'll be Megas. Onto Speed. Speed, he's just getting perma-stunned up right now. Lil Nick is there with the Flame Guard, and Speed is just going to burn out. Mio trying to fight. There's just no way, though. Underneath the tier 4 towers, they still can't defend this. They're trying with the buyback from their Monkey, but the Rocket Flare is there in Speed. He's going to go back onto Scourge McDuck, but he is still alive. He finally goes down, but that's only 1 life into the second, but they call GG. They have had enough. And at 26 minutes into game number 1, the Cut taking a very, very dominant game 1 victory.
Yeah, the Electronic Boys, I mean, it looked like they had the answers to this lineup. I think where it fell apart was really down mid. Like the movement out from the Cut in, keeping Lil Nick alive, giving Lil Nick that snowballed start he needed on his Ember was really key to all of that. His Ember just popped off, had absolute control. He took both power runes in the first 10 minutes as well, so he had a massive boon from that. And I think the Electronic Boys just didn't respect that. They didn't get the movement out from Double A and Albino Zebra in a timely manner to help out their Bristle, and Mio just fell way too behind from that. So really well played from the Cut, especially under supports. Pingu did an amazing job on his Witch Doctor, and the movement out as well from Tingle King and Lil Nick were just on point in this game.
I do agree with you, John, and of course with that, we are going to go to a short 10-minute break, and straight after that 10-minute break, we'll be back with the Game 2 draft, and we'll see if Electronic Boys can force us to a Game 3, or whether the Cut are going to start their debut in the lower division with a 2-0 victory. It's MLP on John xfire. We'll be back in 10 minutes.